Well, hey gang, welcome back to the channel. I am Brian and I've got another review on a very small little power station. I'll admit I got a thing for these small little power generators because I just find them to be incredibly useful for the type of camping that I do in the back of my truck or even in tents because they weigh nothing and they're very easy to move around and pack. This is the GooLoo GTX300. They got a funny name, but I will tell you, I've got quite a few GooLoo products and they've all been great. This company knows how to make batteries. I've got and have been using for the past year their little GooLoo Jump Pack battery starter. I keep it in my truck and I've had to use it twice now and it's saved my bacon. And I've got an air inflator from them, air up tires up to 160 PSI, very strong, 8,000 milliamp hour battery in this thing. So this company knows how to make batteries. And this is a brand new model that they just released. So I'm going to take a look at it and show you folks some of the cool features about it. And we're going to test it out to make sure it's worth your money if you're interested in this. So up close and personal of this unit, you can tell this has a giant LCD screen up front. I do wish it was a little bit brighter to see in a bright room like this. However, when you have it in a tent or say in my truck camper, it's a perfect light because it doesn't blind you. And it's just got all your important information that you're going to want. So you can turn on your DC function and it's going to have that emblem. You can turn on your AC and it'll show that it's turned on. You can turn on and off the display if you don't like it on. It's going to have your input and output watts as well as your remaining runtime hours. And then you're going to have an input-output power delivery 60 watt, a 5 volt 3 amp USB-C power delivery, a quick charge 3.0, and another USB-A 2.4 amp, as well as two 5 amp 5521 barrel outputs. And then over here you're going to have two 300 watt pure sine AC receptacles, and then of course your 12 volt cigarette style socket. You will have your light with multiple modes, SOS and flash, and then your charging input and your solar Anderson input. Now, a little bit more detail on this solar input, this Anderson input, it is rated for 12 to 30 volts or up to 120 watt max worth of solar panels. For charging, if you use the supplied AC charging brick, you're gonna get around 80 watts worth of charging juice. You can also plug up to your input output power delivery 60 watts and get an additional 60 watts worth of charging juice, so you can kind of double up on your charging and charge this thing to full in about 2 hours. If you only use this input on the back with a supplied AC wall charger, it'll take around 3.5 to 4 hours to charge from 0 to 100%. So let's test out the inverter on this little unit, and right now I just have a little probably 60 watt incandescent bulb hooked up to the AC receptacle, and we'll cut it on. It's actually pulling around 84 watts. The fans did kick on, and we are getting 114 volts off of that 85 watt bulb. And guys, check out that sine wave. Absolutely perfectly clean. Let's give it a little boost to see if we can get close to that 300 watts. So here's a little bit bigger incandescent light array. We'll plug this in, 252 watts, which for a power station this size is about as high as I recommend ever going, because you're just gonna drain this battery so fast if you use the AC inverter for some type of appliance that uses 255 watts. Now I'll plug in one more bulb into this array and see how long it keeps it going. So we're at 336 watts, 340, 338. Now again, this is rated for 300 watts, 600 watt surge, but it's still holding 40 watts over what it's rated for. Now let's make sure this power delivery port can actually accept around 60 watts. So I've got a 100 watt power delivery charging brick we're gonna hook up, and we are charging and we're slowly going up to, and look at that, we're at 58 watts charging. This is rated at 60 watts, so I'm gonna give that a pass. That's pretty much the advertised 60 watts of input output. Now let's check to make sure that this can actually output 60 watts. Okay, so I am now charging my Booz RV solar generator from the GooLoo at 57 watts. So 57 watts coming out and going into the Booz RV, and you can see they're right on par with each other. 57 watts of charging, 58 watts of output. So let's also make sure that we can double dip the charging. So I've got my AC charging brick plugged in, as well as my 100 watt power delivery charging brick, and we're gonna plug it into the input, and hopefully we'll climb from about 78 all the way up to 127 watts, 138. So with the AC charging plugged in and a power delivery port, we're able to get around 135 watts of charging juice. So as far as pass-through charging, meaning can this thing charge and be used at the same time, I've got my AC charging brick plugged in. We are inputting around 75 watts. I'm gonna plug in this light. And there you can see we're outputting 85 watts and inputting 77 watts. So pass-through charging works fine. Okay, so this DC port is rated at 120 watts. So I got my tester plugged in, and we're gonna crank it up to make sure it gets at least 120 watts. And there we go, it's at 124 watts. The fan's kicked on. Let's see how far past we can push it. Running 161 watts pretty comfortably. 187 watts. Wow. I'm pulling 205 watts now out of this 12-volt socket. Okay, so last test, I want to see if this power station can run this cooler for a minimum of 8 hours. Let's turn the cooler on down to 35 degrees, and it is 1250. So we'll come back and check in 8 hours to make sure that this does not cut off and it keeps this cooler running. Okay folks, it is 8:20, so I'm about 30 minutes shy of a full 8 hours. But you can tell the power station is still on, the fridge is maintaining 35 degrees, and I started this at around 93%, and the power station is down to only 68%. So running this off of DC could easily get this through the night if you're wondering, can this power station power a cooler overnight while you sleep? The answer is yes. So hopefully folks, as you can tell, this unit just works. Every port that I've tested has done exactly what it said it's supposed to do. In fact, a little bit more in terms of its rated capacity or rated output. Now, I did do a capacity test on this thing, and in order to do that, I charged this thing up to 100%. I hooked up my DC capacity tester, and I ran it until this unit cut itself off. I was able to pull out 270 watt hours off of the rated 299.5 watt hours. That equates to this thing being around 90% efficient, which is great. Anything in the 90s nowadays is really good. Typically, I'm getting between 82 to 86% off of most of my power stations that I review. Just goes to show that GooLoo does know what they're doing with their batteries. Now, this is lithium ion chemistry, not lithium iron phosphate. With me about to dip into the RV world and truck camping, I really do kind of prefer how light some of these lithium ion battery stations are. But there are some pros and some cons to lithium ion, and there's pros and cons to LiPo4. But that's for another day, another video. But guys, I gotta say, this little power station has performed very well. Now in the box, you're gonna get, of course, your AC charging brick. You do have a very nice USB-C to USB-C charging cable, DC to 7909 barrel input that you can use this thing to charge up from your car cigarette lighter or truck cigarette lighter. So I'm gonna put the price of this unit right down here because it keeps fluctuating and there's coupon codes that keep popping up. So as of today, this is what the price of this unit is. So you know about all the pros. In terms of cons, again, I'm kind of limited to just nitpicking these things, and it's a good thing because that means these power station companies are really kind of stepping up to the plate and creating good battery stations. I don't know. Maybe I wish the power delivery port was 100 watts. That way you could guarantee that it could charge, say, your MacBook if you're out camping or whatever, because some MacBooks require a little bit higher than 60 watts output. So 100 watt power delivery would have been, icing on the cake on this. Maybe a wireless charging pad up top, and I know that's kind of a frilly thing, but I do have a few power stations that have the wireless charging pad, which is useful because it means it eliminates a cord that you have to plug into the front of this thing. So maybe having a wireless pad up top, and maybe even Wi-Fi or a Bluetooth app would have been cool. But something this small, I'm not going to nitpick it that much because it just works. The efficiency rating on this thing is great, but all of the rated specs on this unit check out and actually overachieve what they're rated for. So I can't really find any huge thing to knock this power station for. That's just a quick review video. I'm trying to cut these videos down short. If you like this style, let me know. If you want a full, huge 20-minute review over a 300 watt power station, let me know. I can make that happen too. But I'm just trying to show you folks what you want to see. And if there's anything wrong with them, I'm trying to show you that as well. But lately, I don't want to say I haven't been lucky, but I haven't had any power stations that have given me any fits. So folks, this is the GooLoo GTX300. Thanks for watching, and the link for this will be down in the description of the video if you want to check it out yourself. So until next time, gang, have a good one, and we'll see you soon.